Yes, I'm back. I know it's been a long time since I've last spoken to you guys, but unfortunately August was not exactly the best month for me. I had some family issues, which meant I had to spend 36 hours in France last minute, which wasn't exactly great, and on top of that, it just compounded with holidays and school holidays and back to school and everything like that, that it's only really just been now that I've had time to sit down and spend a little bit more time talking to a camera and editing it. However, it doesn't mean that I haven't spent any time warhammering, because I've done a lot on my Tale of Four Gangers gang. I've spent loads of time modelling and loads of time painting, just in and amongst everything. It's been actually a really positive experience, because it's just something that could just mean I could take my focus away for half an hour here, an hour there, where I had the time. And with that, my gang has really grown. I've also had a chance to catch up with everyone from Tale of Four Gangers and record another episode. That is actually 75% edited already, so hopefully that'll be next week's episode after this, or it's already come out, depending on how quickly my editing skills go. Either way, it is great to be back, and I do have something that I wanted to talk to you at the beginning of August, so this may be a little bit outdated, but either way, I still think this is a really valid point to answer, because I had loads of comments on the how to choose a gang video, and also I've noticed in the search bar, whenever you put Necromunda, this is one of the most common questions that comes up in Google, and that is, what book do I need to play Necromunda? And that question has not got any easier with the release of the new Core Rulebook. And that's because this book does combine a load of things and can make it easier for some people, but depending on what you own, what you want to play, and what gang you want to choose, there may be better options out there for you. So I'm going to run through those now, try and also then just outline what books you need for which gang, and then after that, I just want to have a little discussion about what I think about this system of working, and maybe where Games Workshop could move in the future, and what I think in light of the new Warhammer 40k app, and I think what that can mean for Necromunda moving ahead. Anyway, that's been quite a long intro, so really I think there's nothing left for me to do now but roll the damn tape. Now, firstly, with the release of the new Core Rulebook for Necromunda, it can mean there are less books that you need to buy in order to play everything there is in the game. However, depending on what books you've already got, or what gangs you want to choose, or what games you want to play, it might not necessarily be the best choice for you. So in order to explain that, I've probably got to start by looking at the differences between this new Core Rulebook and the one that was released previously in 2017. So first up, everything that was in the 2017 rulebook has been translated into the new one. It's just all the additional items they've added in that will determine if it's worth your while in purchasing. So what are these items? Well, first up, we have all the rules from the Ash Waste have been translated and brought in. So you've got all the vehicle lists, as well as all the gameplay mechanics you need to play any game out in the desolate wastelands that surround the hives. On top of that, you get all the good weird powers. Now, these used to be hidden away in the Book of the Outcast, but now they're here in the rulebook, which means if you want to play Psychers, definitely worth having those wherever you can get them. On top of that, there have been some errata changes, so some of the skills are a bit underloved, like Hurl, where it used to be like 2 actions to perform. Now you can perform a charge and then immediately throw someone across the board. So that's a really exciting and additional way to make the gameplay just a little bit more faster paced. On top of that, injury tables are back. Just like the old G Necromunda we used to love, there are now these really cool injury tables you can roll on whenever a ganger takes a serious injury. It can mean a little bit more higher risk when taking those injuries, but you get some further rewards if you perform those injuries on other gangers, so a bit more XP. Also now, secondary skills can be officially purchased, which means more customization for your gangers, which cannot be anything but a good thing. The trading post is also a full list collated from all the books, and nearly all of the campaign scenarios have been put together in this book. Not all of them, annoyingly. I don't know why, but it just feels like a couple of extra pages and you could have a full list of campaign scenarios for both inside the hive and in the Ash Waste, but unfortunately not. So that is everything. But Hamilton, what does this mean? What book do I need to buy? I still don't understand. Well, this is going to take a little bit more time because it's going to be dependent on what you want to play and what books you already have as to if this is the right purchase for you or if there's a cheaper or maybe better solution out there. So let's start with if you're new, the simple one. If you're new and you want to play everything there is to Necromunda and you want to know everything about it and you know what gang you want to choose, then the easy solution is to buy the new core rulebook and then the relevant book of or house of book that is for your gang. Now, I will run through what those are for each relevant gang a bit later because I know that's very confusing, but we'll get onto that and I'll put a link down here if you're quickly just wanting to find that. But let's just say though you are an existing gamer. You've already got the core rulebook and you're thinking, Hamilton, I'm not really keen in going out to the Ash Waste. Do I need this book? Well, I would say no. Dependent. Now, let's say you have the original core rulebook and you're not keen on going out to the Ash Waste. So really what you're gaining in this is the weird powers, some errata changes, and then a couple of extra skill points. Now, I would say that really, if you're not going to go out to the Ash Waste and you're not keen on weird powers, then just stick with the existing rulebook and stick with the gang book you've got because you're probably solid. Let's say you have the original core rulebook and you're keen on getting those weird powers, you're keen on starting an Outcast gang and you don't have the Book of Outcasts, but you don't want to go out to the Ash Waste. Well then I'd say buy the Book of the Outcasts. You're going to get all the weird powers in that book and you don't need to spend the additional on a whole massive rulebook. You can probably get one second hand for half the price. Here's another one that's a little bit more complicated. Say you've got the existing rulebook and you now want to move out to the Ash Waste and you have no Ash Waste rule sets available to you, but also you want to start either a Prospectors or a Nomads gang, then I wouldn't buy the new core rulebook either. I would just go buy the Book of the Outlands because in that you're not only going to get all the Ash Waste rules, you're also going to get your gangs lists and you're going to get all the lore and information around your gang in that additionally. And again, you could probably get it secondhand and a little bit cheaper than a new core rulebook. So as you can see, it can be a little bit more complicated and hopefully those answer a couple of questions. I think the real thing to take on board are what are the additional items I'm going to get in here and can I get them from other books? But Hamilton, the books, they are different to the names of the gangs. They say book of and house of and they don't mean anything. I don't understand. You say there are rules in them? What? Well, that probably means it's time for me to explain what each of those book of books and house of books mean, what gangs they relate to, what rule sets they add into them, so that you can know which book you need. Because as I said, you might just need the existing, cheaper, secondhand available rulebook and one of these book of books to play the games you want. So let me just outline what are in those books. Now you can see what gangs they relate to, because that's just useful generally, as well as what rules are in them so that you can figure out which kind of mix and match you want to go for to make the best financial, as well as just like, I don't need extra stuff on my shelves kind of decision that this game can make very difficult. So let's go. Now then, I'm just going to run through each of the names of the books, explain what gangs they include, as well as any additional rule sets they add to the game. Worth noting, when I say a gang, I don't only mean all the stats and skills you need to build the gang of your choice, but also loads of lovely lore and beautiful artwork, so it's just win-win-win. Anyway, let's start off. First up, there is the House of Faith, which gives you the Cawdor and Redemptionists. The House of Shadow, which gives you the Delac, and their very okay Psyker rules. You get the House of Blades, which gives you all the Escher rules. The House of Chains, that gives you Goliaths and Ogryns, bonus. Then you get the House of Iron, which is the Orlok gang. The House of Artifice, that gives you the Van Saar. So those are all the House of books. Now we're going to move on to the Book of books. Anyway, they are actually sometimes more interesting because they give you additional things. So first up, the easy one, Book of Judgment. That's all the Palatine Enforcer rules. The Book of Peril, that gives you all the Bounty Hunter rules and Venators and a load of hangers-on. Very interesting. The Book of Ruin, this has got quite a few things in it. Not only do you get Helot Gang rules, but you also get Corpse Grinder Cult and Gene Stealer Cult. 3 for 1 in that one. The Book of the Outlands, now this one's densely packed because not only do you get all of the Ash Waste rules, including all the vehicle lists for every single gang, you get the Ash Waste Romads, that's not the name, the Ash Waste Nomads, and the Ironhead Prospectors. Finally then, the Book of the Outcast, which in essence gives you all the rules you need to make an Outcast gang, as well as those really good weird powers. Now there are some additional things hidden away in there, but those are the big ticket items and should explain to you what book you need for which gang. So there you go, internet, answered. So now I've explained what each and every single one of the books that are out there include, and hopefully with that you can make a bit more of a better informed decision as to which one you can buy. And if you want to save a few pennies, as I said, you might be able to buy the correct corresponding house of or book that relates to your gang, as well as giving you some additional rule sets that can combine with the older rulebook to give you everything you need to play the game for a little bit less by buying them secondhand or just getting them cheaper somewhere else. So hopefully that's helpful. But as you can see, it is ridiculously annoying and ridiculously confusing for no apparent reason, apart from this is just the way Games Workshop loves to operate. And I've got to say, it's really confusing, and I'm about to rant. Now, I've left this little pause here for anyone who doesn't want to hear me rant and say, why Games Workshop, do you continue to do this? They can leave now. If you want to stay, I will try and remain civil, but I just want to let things off my chest, which is, oh my gosh, it's so annoying and it's so expensive. It's just another barrier to entry to what is actually quite a simple, good intro game for people into the worlds of 40k in general, and give people who actually are more interested in maybe tabletop role-playing games to sort of transition into 40k. I always think Necromunda is a great example of this, and they can do it better. They've done it better with Warcry. Warcry, you get the core rule set, and then whenever you buy your little warband, inside the box there is a load of cards with all the data sheets and everything you need for your gang. I mean, it can be that simple, and I don't know why it isn't. Yes, I love the lore, and I think some of those lore elements are great. The artwork is great in those books, and they are perfect for that, but I don't think they should be a necessity for people who want to play this game. I think they should be for those additional hobbyists, and Games Workshop knows we will buy things if they make them, but if you're new to the game and you just want to get in, you don't have to already buy a core rulebook and then this weird house of book that has no name related to your gang in order for you to build the most complex piece of Excel spreadsheet there is in order to make a gang. Why is it not, here's an Escher gang, in there's just a little prefabricated set of gangers? I mean, it's simple as that, and maybe someone out there should just build that for everyone. Here is how you get 1,000 credits on the table now. And then if you want to make more gangs, then great, yeah, I'm going to buy the House of Blades. I'm loving playing with these Eschers, but I want to make them more dynamic, or I want to learn about the lore, I want to see more pictures, or I just love having books. Perfect, have that. But Warcry, you got it right. Just chuck it over to Necromunda. And we all know what's annoying about it is it's focused on making money, and it just is, it rankles a little bit, doesn't it, everyone? I know that's they're a business and they need to do that, but they would make more money if more people were playing the game, right? And that's the thing, I think people would spend more money, because just like in Warcry, I hear people saying, and I do it myself, you buy warband after warband because they are some of the most interesting and exciting models that GW make, and that's the same for Necromunda. And as we all know, every model is a Necromunda model, so you want to build more gangs for it. And that's why I think with a game like a skirmish game, just like Kill Team, even in Kill Team you can go and buy a book that gives you a load of lists for loads of kill teams, and sometimes they're even baked into some of the Kill Team box sets, these rules, that you can then have a skirmish game where you can buy more and more gangs. And so if baked into the boxes was a standard set for each gang, I would go and buy an Eschers, I would go buy a Delax, I would go buy a Van Sars probably tomorrow. But I don't, because I don't want to buy all those books, and that is the problem. Okay, yes, I do own a lot of them, but that's because I'm an idiot, but I think more people would go out there and buy more gangs and would be able to play loads more games with people. And just like Warcry and Kill Team, they could do things with the Outcasts, the Helots, the Venators, and make particular box sets for particular gangs that they want to make up, give you some pre-generated in-the-box rules for how to play them, and it would become a bigger game. And I know that means it's going to be competing with Kill Team, but why don't the Ecludian Starstriders have a series of Necromunda rules that you can just get online, or just in the box? And as we know, it's a different game to Kill Team. Yeah, it would compete, and it would probably win because it's a better game set, but Kill Team is there really for people who already play 40k. That's my thinking about it. Unlike Warcry, which I think actually, because there isn't another one in the Age of Sigmar realms, it does capture both of them, because you can take warbands from your bigger Age of Sigmar set, or you can just buy some of the particular sets for Warcry and play those. And I just don't see why they don't do it more for Necromunda. That's all. Maybe just because I make a channel about it that I want to talk more about it, but that's my thinking on it. And just one more thing, we're here talking about baking rules into books and into boxes. And I think the last time I checked, the internet was a thing and it's not 1995 anymore, so could we not look at an app? They've got one for 40k. Yes, they've just put it behind the paywall and everyone's a bit annoyed about that. But even if they did put it behind a paywall, it could just expand the game even further and make it so much more simpler for people getting into this game, so they don't have to do the on their table, get out the calculator, get the book out and start making Excel spreadsheets. It can all be done purchasable through an app. I mean, you just got to look at, say, the pairing of 5e with D&D Beyond is the reason why its success is so great. Yes, there are millions of great TTRPGs out there, and obviously D&D is always going to be the biggest one, but my gosh, the simplistic, user-friendly experience of D&D Beyond makes that something that you just cannot live without now. And when you come to other TTRPG systems, you're like, I gotta do this with a pen and paper? Are you serious? Because look at this, and Pathfinder's got their Nexus out now, which looks just as good and interesting. Why isn't that for Necromunda? It could be so much more simpler, and they could update rule sets and you just pay a subscription. I don't mind paying £5 a month for it. It'd be great because you would get all the new things that come out every time they made a new gang. They could just build a gang, update the rules onto the website, and you've got them there. And if you want to make more gangs, you want to get interested in the Delac when you've been playing Esches for a year, you can just do it, and you don't think, now I've got to fork out 30 quid. Yes, I've been forking out 5 quid or 8 quid every month or whatever it is for a subscription service, but I know I can just change gangs on the fly and people will, and they will buy more models. Promise you, GW, they will. And so why not do it? I mean, maybe someone could do it. Anyone a good coder out there? But you can see my point. It is the modern era, and they've got to start moving in on this because it could make GW explode even further and become so much more of a dominant power, because someone will do it, and when they do and they get that right, people will buy your models, GW, but they will use this system. And I think that would be a shame, because Necromunda is a great game. So anyway, hopefully with the first part of this video, you've understood what books you need to get in order to play Necromunda, and possibly some ways to save a few pennies if there's certain types of gameplay you're interested in over others. Additionally, in the second part, if you did listen to me rant, I would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you have some ideas for apps, or you know of some apps out there or internet-based things or resources that might make this a little bit easier, then that would be really great, and drop those in the comments below and I'll try and highlight them in maybe my community chat or on my Instagram or anything like that. So that would be great. Wait. What? I'm in the middle of recording. What? Look, I'm really sorry, but I heard you wrapping up and I thought I just had to jump in and mention one-page rules. What, the Grimdark Future guys? Yeah, that's the one. Why? Why do you think? Oh no. Oh, fucking course. Of course they would. Yeah, and even with an app? Yep. What do I do now? I have to re-record this? Well, I don't know. I just thought I'd jump in and let you know. You figure out if you record a new one or not. Whatever. Right. Okay, looks like I've got to now go and do a whole other video talking about one-page rules, their awesome app that does everything that I was just talking about. So maybe next time, before the gang lore video, or maybe not, I will be here talking about one-page rules and their really awesome app that works with their Grimdark Future Firefight Gang Wars supplements. Anyway, back to my original video. Anyway, that is everything for today, and so next week is when I'm going to start changing things up. As I said on the Tale of Four Gangers, I am going to be looking to do things differently moving forward. Instead of bringing out a pre-edited video every week, I want to do a few different things that relate to the Tale of Four Gangers video series we're doing. So first up, I'm interested in actually spending some time trying to go through how I'm building my crazy outcast gang, giving them rules and how to stat and skill them up, because I think it's a really particular and interesting form of playing Necromunda. It's the most extreme version of building a gang, and so I'm going to be doing a series of live videos. So what I'm going to do is basically have 1 or 2 edited videos a month, and then the Tale of Four Gangers update, and then within that I will be doing a few live shows instead on the weeks that are off. And so in that I'll be doing some painting and some modeling of my gangers, and as the gang has got this sort of Final Fantasy twist, I'm going to be looking at the Final Fantasy VII characters that they're all based on and talking about how I'm going to try and copy that paint style. Maybe you can help me figure out what colors I need to do and what elements of them I really need to push forward. So if you want to join me for some of those, you will see the notification come up on the YouTube channel. But in the meantime, I look forward to coming back with my gang lore series. That'll be the next set of edited videos, and you'll see the more Taylor 4 gangers as they come out. So, as ever, until next time, you stay safe in the Underhive. Bye everyone.